Development Committee meeting. It is Monday, July 8th at approximately 10:13. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Mr. Jones. Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Mr. Miller is also in attendance. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comment this morning?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have one person signed in. Lou?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Here, I would like to repeat my support to all the council members' effort on the ARPA funds, especially on these individual projects from each district. Doesn't matter you want to call that slush funds or something else. However, most of the ARPA funds allocated by the administration, I have to repeat again, totally a disappointment. All the essential services, even you see the allocation to them, but they are all pinpoint something which actually avoids the real essential parts of these services. Now, for example, this particular committee, you even have a subcommittee to go after the banks because they are doing business with the county, but they do not really give the contribution fairly to the community. So this committee has taken the role to make an effort on that. On the same time, strangely, how come all other projects coming into this committee and the one called Economic Development and Planning, lots of times, all these committee members, you are busy thinking about some of the issues, but you totally forgot about all these projects. They have something important, but not telling you. For example, you keep supporting these developmental projects to give them a possibility to have a loan from the county. But do they really keep their promise in their project to deliver completely, or they have some of the loopholes inside of their project? I remember not too long ago, one particular project coming to the county committees saying they want to have a project probably at the lakefront areas. They have affordable units for housing and also rental, like as hotel too. So you have apartments and hotel together. When they told you that they have affordable units, nobody remembered to ask them, affordable to whom? After the meeting adjourned, I asked the question. The affordable units with the same equipment as the one will rent out for market rates, $1,600, one-bedroom apartment. Affordable to whom in this community? If this is a project in Cleveland downtown areas, then you know lots of the workers have no way to reach their downtown jobs. It would be nice if they can live closer to their jobs to cut off the time to commute. However, these are the questions these community members should have asked. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, is there anyone else?
And that concludes our public comment, Madam Chair.
Thank you. There are minutes from the June 24th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll make the second. Thank you. Mr. Gallagher made the second. With a motion on the floor, a first and a second, I ask for all in favor to say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the minutes are approved. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2024-0246, awarding a total sum not to exceed $6,000 to the United Black Fund of Greater Cleveland for the Afro-Pact Summit from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Is there someone here to speak to this morning? Excellent. Since everyone who's here to speak has other roles. I didn't know why you were here today.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Chair, Council. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak just briefly, and we'll talk just to introduce why UBF is involved in what we do as an organization, and then I'll ask my colleagues to come forward.
And if you could state your name for the record, please.
Certainly. Cecil Lipscomb.
Thank you.
Again, I'm President and CEO of the United Black Fund of Greater Cleveland, and we're here today just in support of AfroPact. And this is part of our role at United Black Fund is to be the foundation for a variety of community efforts. We are a traditional grant provider in the city, so when receiving the call about this effort, we felt that it was necessary to not only partner, but also put a few funds in support of this effort. So we're here not only requesting support financially from the council, but also sharing that we too will provide some resources towards this effort. Again, UBF has been in the community since 1981. Each year, we probably give away anywhere between $400,000 and $600,000 in grant funding to a variety of efforts. It is with great privilege that we're able to partner with folks that you see behind me, Crystal Bryant and Kwame Botchway, and my accountant, Vicki Wilson. So I basically am here just to say, please lend your ear, and we hope that you will follow us and support the effort for AfroPact. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kwame Botchway. I'm one of the co-founders of AfroPact. Thanks for the opportunity to be in front of you this morning. So my job is to share briefly what AfroPact is, and then my colleague Crystal Bryant will share a bit more about the summit that we are organizing. So I've lived in Cleveland now for more than half a decade. And in the time that I've been here, I've seen my own community of people of African descent grow within this community. And I've seen our needs and our part in this community also grow our contributions to this community as well. But one thing that I have not seen, or where the gap has been, is that up till now, there has not been an organization that brings all of us together to have the critical conversations that border about our presence and also our future. And so that's part of the reason we started AfroPact, to serve as a platform to mobilize and bring together people of the African descent that are living in this area, but also living outside of here to have conversations about our shared future. And so the work that we want to do, part of it is strongly economic development. We know that as a country, the United States' relationship with Africa is growing. The federal government itself is paying closer attention to how to do business better with Africa. And we feel that on this local level, as we know, the county executive is leaning in and wanting to make our county a more welcoming place for people of all descents coming from elsewhere. We feel that we need additional champions in the community that would uplift some of these conversations. And that's the reason that we started AfroPact to, build these bridges, but also create the space for the work that needs to be done. And so the summit that Krista will be talking about briefly is one of the key things that we are kicking off and starting with. And then we are looking to do more programming in the future. So, Krista.
Good morning, members of council. My name is Crystal Bryant Ajimang. As Kwame so briefly stated, I am co-founder for AfroPact. I'm going to talk a little bit about the logistics for the summit. We're hoping to serve or bring in about 100 individuals across the state of Ohio, but mainly in Cuyahoga County. And we'll have it at Magnet. It'll be a day-and-a-half summit. The first day will be education sharing, information gathering, history lessons, and opportunities to really talk about what have been the differences in culture and how we can come together to make a greater Cuyahoga County, a greater Ohio, and a greater United States of America. The second day, the half-day session will be strategy building sessions. This work will be focused on some of the work that AfroPac hopes to do as an organization outside of the summit. Kwame talked a little bit about cooperative economics, and so we'll have some structure around making investments. We don't know fully what that looks like because we're still in the planning phase of this. We want to make it free for every person that is able to attend. It will be a biannual opportunity for folk to come together, and this will be its first if you all are willing to make the investment. As Cecil so eloquently stated, we've been fundraising for this effort. It'll roughly cost about $20,000 to host. And so Cecil himself, or United Black Fund as an organization, has put forward $2,000. We have 2 private donors that have put forth some resources in the amount of totaling the amount of $1,500. We have friends of Rep. Juanita Brent, who has also put forth $1,000 in resources for the civic engagement and participation of this event. We have $5,000 raised from Bedrock, and we have $5,000 raised from Amazon. And so, if council is so willing to put forth the 6, it should close our gap. We will be more than grateful for your contribution and happy to take questions at this point.
Questions from my colleagues? Mr. Miller.
Madam Chair, thank you very much and for your presentation, and I wish you the best of success. And my question is after this convening has taken place and people have come together, what follow-on results are we expecting to come out of this effort?
Sure. So I'll start by attempting to tackle that. One of the metrics, you heard me mention a half-day strategy building session, is to be able to take or utilize folks' intellectual property around the ideas of how do we come together for cooperative economics? How do we strategize around policies that support the Africans that are making a transition over to Ohio and within the city of Cleveland and the county of Cuyahoga? And also we'll be looking at how do we leverage our resources to come together to make sure they're not only meeting their most basic needs when they transition, but how they are contributing and uplifting into the fabric of what we already have. So taking those ideas roughly to create a cumulative plan is one metric. The other opportunity is the education and information sharing, understanding that there is only one race, there is the human race. And so we have to figure out what are the differences in culture that creates differences. And we can utilize some level of surveying to be able to find out what that metric was about what folk were able to learn and what else they're interested in learning. So to be quite honest, those are the metrics that we have created thus far, but we are still building and working. The summit will take place, and my apologies, Council, I forgot to state that, September 26th and 27th. So Councilman Miller, we still have time as we're building this. I don't want to make some things up off the fly. I want to be very honest and transparent about how this is working out. And we're also happy once those things have been finalized to make sure Council or this particular committee receives some information about what the final metrics will be for the summit.
Madam Chair, Ms. Bryant, could you say a little bit more about what cooperative economics would look like?
If I could just add, and in terms of the conference, I will defer back to Crystal and Kwame. UBF is of interest because initially, about a year ago, we were approached and had a collaboration with Cleveland State regarding export. There was a federal opportunity. And what we realized in Cleveland, there was very little opportunities for export and involvement between local African-American citizens and to the continent of Africa. And there was an interest by Cleveland State to do more training for how to export in for citizens here locally. The question became, how do we find people that have businesses capable and willing to scale? And so we see this as an opportunity when you speak to what are the next steps that naturally come out of this. When you talk about cooperative economics, we have interest in this because there are business owners that will be attending, and hopefully we'll be able to call the opportunities forward to do business more on an international basis, because currently there's a fraction of a percentage of exporting opportunities going to the African American community.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? I have a question. Could you give us an example of some of the types of exporting or importing that you think might be a possibility out of this pool of folks that will come in and participate in the programming? You don't have to name the name of the company. If you can just tell us what kinds of products they might produce or services they might provide.
Yeah, so the one clear example that comes to mind is, for instance, City of Cleveland just became a sister city to the city of Tema, Ghana, which is the manufacturing or industrial hub of the country and also a port city, just like the city of Cleveland. There's a lot of different manufacturing businesses that are out there. There are businesses that have access to like raw materials and other materials that manufacturing companies here may need. We cannot know for sure right now what those exchanges would be, but we'll begin to find that out once we bring the parties into the room and create the platform for them to have the conversation and for those exchanges to happen. So if you ask me this question again after the summit and after some of the engagements that we do post-summit, I would be able to give you a comprehensive list of items or other materials that we feel could be part of the exchange.
Do you have a list of invitees now?
We are working on that. As Crystal mentioned, we are still in the final planning phases of this. So we are putting together an invite list. But we already have a number of speakers that have been confirmed. Many of them have worked in the economic development space here locally and also internationally.
Questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, good morning, and thank you for all that you're doing through the United Black Fund. I'm happy to be a support of this item. Philosophically, it resonates with me. I have, now there's a developer who's working in my neighborhood. His name is James Sosan, and he's of Nigerian descent. And he is bringing development to an old YMCA building that I grew up learning to swim in. He's got a great vision for the building and other parts of the community. And just the idea of building this bridge and strengthening I'm gonna say the existing bridge, but strengthening it. We have commerce, currency, and communication that goes from country to country, and those things exist in all other parts of our communities, and it ties us to them. We're dealing with some bigger issues now because of the natural connectivity tissue between communities. But our charter mandate mandates that we focus right here, not on the politics outside of the greater world, but right here locally. And this deals with this locally, even with the connecting bridge. It is a benefit to this community, the work that you're doing, and again, laying some foundation to strengthen those ties in this community and to benefit and grow the economic competitiveness of this community and just benefit the quality of life. We live, work, and play right here in Cuyahoga County for all members of this community. So I am happy to be a supporter of you, and I look forward to seeing the good work that you do.
If there are no other questions, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we move this to the full council.
Is there a second?
Second.
3 readings.
No, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, congratulations. This moves to full council. Because this is ARPA funding, it has 3 full readings. On your way out, typically staff will tell you what the projected schedule for the readings are, and you can come and participate in the meeting, or you can watch us live stream. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Resolution 2024-0250, awarding a total sum not to exceed $20,000 to the Western Reserve Historical Society for the Carl B. Stokes History and Legacy Project from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You will identify yourselves individually and your role in the organization you represent.
Madam Chair, my name is R.L. Renders III. Most people call me Bob, and I am the project manager for this initiative. through RLR3 and Associates. I have 3 other associates, Vicki Dansby, who's here today, Rhonda Crowder, and Barbara Brown. Okay. I have a handout for you. This project has 3 elements. The Lakeview Cemetery, where Carl Stokes is laid to rest, the Western Reserve Historical Society, which possesses Carl's papers, and the Caramel House, who is the recipient, and I think there's about 300 photos, plaques, trophies, things of that nature that was part of the collection at the Historical Society, which was donated to Caramel House. There's a quote by Dr. Carter G. Woodson that says, "The people who have no recorded history are always neglected." Well, certainly we know a lot about Carl Stokes, but as we pursued this project, there was so much more that we uncovered and discovered that even today, we are in the shadows of his legacy, his leadership while he was mayor. Some of the things that there's a generation of people that really know relatively little about Carl Stokes. And that's one of the things that are going to be brought out as we work on this project. Certainly wanted to thank Meredith Turner, who was at our launch when we launched this project at the Historical Society, for supporting this and bringing it to your committee for consideration. One of the things that come to mind about Carl was shared with us by Dick Perry. He said, "Did you know that before Carl was elected, African Americans were not employed in most of the corporations in the city of Cleveland? Law firms, contractors, accountants, none of that." And Dick Perry said, when they came to do business with the city, Carl said, "Unless you hire African Americans and other people of color, you will not be doing business with the city of Cleveland." We're impacted by that to this day. We think about Lou, and that seat for Lou was actually Carl's seat, and he decided to let his brother run for that office. I remember listening to a veteran who said that Carl and them didn't do much of anything. I said, "Do you know that I'm a veteran?" I said, "Our Veterans Hospital is the number 5 out of almost 1,600 veteran facilities in the nation, and that has directly to do with Carl and Lou Stokes." One of the other things I wanted to bring to the attention that we seldom think about. We know Carl was mayor, and if you go out to Lakeview Cemetery, there's a headstone, doesn't even say he was mayor. Just simply says he was ambassador, and that he fought the good fight. And there's a reason for that. Cordell also said that he was unable to come. He had a conflict, and that's why he was not able to be with us today. And the resources just simply were not there to do what we are now doing now to give Carl his due out at Lakeview Cemetery and creating a monument, a Carl Stokes Memorial Plaza. And it's probably copied after the one that was done. We're going to do some enhancements for Maynard Jackson in Atlanta. The other thing that was said about Carl, which we don't think about. Every day of our lives, we drink good water, clean water here in Cleveland, Ohio. Carl, we think about Al Gore, kind of as a father of environmental protection. It actually is Carl Stokes. Carl would be considered the father of environmental protection when he went before Congress and talked about how many times the Cuyahoga River had burned. From those meetings and everybody that joined in with him, he was the face of that initiative. We have the Clean Water Act, we have the Environmental Protection Agency, and we have the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. I'm going to turn this over now to Vicki Dansby.
Thanks. Thank you, Bob. Good morning. Thank you for having us today. My name is Vicki Dansby, and I also serve as one of the project managers for the Carl B. Stokes History and Legacy Project. And I just wanted to speak directly to you with regards to the budget and why we need this funding. So our full overall budget is slightly over $1.2 million. And more than half of that is for the memorial estate, for Carl B. Stokes Memorial Estate. That it was up on the monitors earlier, but to be able to build that monument. The primary balance is to digitize his papers. I think Bob spoke pretty clearly about why that's necessary, to make sure that his story is told, and that it's told correctly, and that people from all over the world will have access to it. So out of that, Lakeview Cemetery, the monument is about $637,000. We need about roughly 573 to break ground. So we will not break ground until we're at least 90% funded, so that we're sure that we're gonna finish the project, as we are sure that we will. We kicked off our fundraising in March of this year, and to date, we have about 160,000 in commitment. That was primarily, 135 was St. Luke's Foundation, and the rest private donors. So your support would be wonderful. I mean, it would really help us just get the ball rolling and to be able to show the support from the overall community. Thank you.
Questions from my colleagues?
Madam Chair. Okay. Not so much a question, but more just a statement. And Mr. Render, it's a pleasure to see you two, see you both.
Thank you, Council President.
Known you over the years. I know the value you bring to the Ward 6 community, a pillar in the community. So I'm happy to be supportive of this as well. I just remember, just to share my own story of what I was told about Carl Stokes, because I didn't know him. You know, I didn't get to personally know him, but my dad was someone who always shared with me, him being the first African-American mayor of a major city. And he always told me how it happened, and that it was an actual strategy and game plan in place. And you know, my dad was a Republican, and you know, that's where I get my Republican tendencies from, you know. But as a African-American Republican, they all left the Democratic Party for the primary to vote for him to help him get elected. And that was just part of just an overall strategy that they had to create the first African-American mayor in a major city. And those things were duplicated across the country. And as you mentioned, Maynard Jackson. So Cleveland was a leader in that way. And again, bringing African-American mayors to urban cities. And that was just something my dad always shared with me, that I always remembered. So of all the many incredible things he did, I'm thankful to Carl Stokes, and as so many others are, and I look forward to supporting this legislation.
Thank you, Council President. Just want a footnote. I share with you the excitement. I talked to Joe Sosan.
Okay.
I too went to that YMCA because we were not allowed to go to the YMCA up on 105th. So all of us learned how to swim there on Cedar.
That's right there on Cedar. That's right. All right.
Thank you. Any other comments? Is there a motion on the floor? I'll move that this be approved by this council body, move to the full body of council. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no oppositions, this moves forward to the full body of council. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. As you heard me say earlier, this needs 3 full readings by the body. And as you leave today, one of the staff will tell you what the approximate schedule is. You can come and listen in person, or you can visit us virtually through the live stream process. Again, thank you and congratulations.
On behalf of Cordell Stokes, thank you.
Resolution 2024-0251, awarding a total sum not to exceed $200,000 to Karamu House for the Karamu's Next Generation Capital Improvement Project from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Mr. Sias.
Good morning, Committee
Morning.
Chair. Thank you for allowing me to be here this morning. Good morning, Committee. My name is Tony Sias, President and CEO of Karamu House, America's oldest Black producing theater, celebrating 109 years. Today's request is around our Phase 3 gap funding of renovations. In 2027, Karamu began capital improvements to the theater wing of the building. That started with putting a
Did you mean
roof.
2017, or you said 2027?
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. 2017. Thank you. Capital improvements started on the theater wing of the building, starting with a roof and the theater, and then the ancillary areas. We were supposed to start Phase 3 renovations in 2020, but of course the pandemic created delays. What Phase 3 renovation really focuses in on is public accessibility and ADA accessibilities. So currently we have created a pavilion that connects the north side of the building to the south side of the building. Currently, if you're moving from the north to the south, historically moving from the north to the south, you'd have to go down a back hallway that was not a public area. We've created this pavilion to connect the north and south, and that ADA accessibility, meaning that you have a ADA ramp that goes into the education and theater wing and allows patrons to flow easily through the north and south side of the building. In addition to that, we've created a brand new arena theater that serves our young people in technical theater and workforce development, a space that we'll be activating come soon, a bistro. But one of the crown jewels of this particular project is a brand new streetscape on the corner of East 89th and Quincy, where there is a marquee and a plaza. And it allows you to know that you arrived at a destination location in the heart of the Fairfax community. That's really key to programming. Today's request is for $200,000.
Are there any questions from my colleagues?
I don't know if I missed it, Madam Chair. Did you say how much the overall?
The overall project is $5.3 million.
And as I understand it, they have raised approximately $4 million?
Yes, actually, we've raised $5 million. And this is the gap funding to cover the cost overruns as it relates to COVID and coming out of the pandemic, trying to do construction. We've finished it by the end of the month, and those costs are what we're here to get covered.
If there are no further questions, I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, with motion on the floor, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please signify. Hearing no opposition, this moves forward to the full body of council. Mr. Sias, congratulations. As I said to the folks who came before you, this needs 3 readings before council. We're pleased to support your efforts to maintain this historic programming facility, and we wish you luck. If you wish to watch the other 3 meetings, you can do so in person or online via the live streaming. Thank you.
Thank you. Make it a great day.
And Madam Chair, could you add my name to the
Yes.
project?
Madam Clerk?
Noted, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
would you add my name as well?
absolutely.
Resolution 2024-0252, awarding a total sum not to exceed $295,000 to the Home Repair Resource Center for the Challenge Fund Loan Program from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, council members. I'm here as Keisha Allen, Executive Director, Home Repair Resource Center. We're located in Cleveland Heights, been founded since 1971, and we strive to empower homeowners to keep their homes in good repair for sustainable and diverse communities. I'm bringing this application to you in a very interesting situation. I want to thank council first because through this committee, previously under Executive Budish, we were able to successfully scale bring up to scale our challenge loan program. This was a loan loss reserve program for folks who lost equity, which many Cuyahoga County homeowners have, or aren't creditworthy. Everyone deserves the opportunity to be able to keep their home in good repair. So this product was a no-brainer when it came to being able to support homeowners. When we grew it to scale, our partner, Key Bank, forgot some of the key elements that made this product great. So therefore, it was not as palatable for many homeowners, unfortunately. I would like to thank President Purnell, President Jones, Councilperson Turner, as well as Vice President Stevens. When I brought that situation to them, they supported this by supporting other funds to be able to offset those high costs, to be able to get the actual challenge fund loan. 2024, we are here. Director Jackson and I have been in constant discussion about how this is not what we expected from Key. And we expect more from Key. We expect more from all of our institutions, just like during public comment, being a member of the CRA subcommittee, it's very interesting to see how big business happens here. But so often our communities are left behind, and I really applaud this council for really taking those institutions to task and also providing opportunities for my organization to do what we do. And expanding this, so as of now, Director Parks Jackson has sunsetted what was called the Key Cares program in a statement to Key Bank saying that you need to do better. And I'm submitting this application in support of, since that product is not there, what we'd like to do is in District 10 still support homeowners by providing them with grants to be able to keep their homes in good repair. And in the meantime, Director Jackson and I are going to be working to, again, hold these institutions to the fire. And I can't say so much about Vice President Cheryl Stevens about what she's been able to do for our community and what she's been able to really do in regards to talking to these banks. You have big buildings here, right? And they're still not doing what they need to do to support the communities here. And this council has actually made the efforts, and I'm so appreciative of that. So with this grant, we're asking for $295,000 to expand that program, to be able to provide grants in District 10. And then in the future, we hope to work with council, institutions, as well as the county administration to bring another resource to homeowners so they're able to keep their homes in good repair. Thank you.
Questions from my colleagues? Mr. Miller?
Madam Chair, Ms. Allen, how many homeowners can be assisted with the $295,000?
It'll depend. We're aiming for about 50 to 100, but depending on the grant amounts, it's not a round number. So if we're going to do a roof, it could get up to 5,000, 8,000. But if we're going to do access patios for a senior, it might not be that much. So we'll, to our discretion, award these funds based on the need. And it won't exceed $10,000 per homeowner.
And Madam Chair, Ms. Allen, is the $295,000 the size of the entire program for District 10, or does this leverage some additional money?
It does leverage additional money. We are going to be recipients of Cleveland Heights ARPA program, in which we are going to get approximately $2.5 million to be able to support homeowners in Cleveland Heights. We are also working with the Fair Housing Center, and we have the Black and Latinx Community and Reinvestment Fund, which it's within District 10, but it also spans through District 9 and District 8. So we're trying to leverage as many funds as we can to be able to maximize the benefit for homeowners.
Okay, thank you.
So that's one of the goals for the interaction that I had with the HRRC. It was to get them to be able to do their work not just in Cleveland Heights and University Heights, but to work in Shaker, South Euclid, and that's the reason for the county money. You see that in addition to the $240 that was left from our actions with Key Cares, there's an additional $45,000 to help with their operational needs, because as we all know, you need staff to run these programs. Councilman Kelly, did you have a comment?
Comment, yeah. I was just looking through the paperwork, and on page 39 of this financial information, it lists a total of $300,000 versus the $295. I'm sure it's just maybe misprint or whatever, but just
Oh, I didn't look
bring
at
that to your
that
attention,
page.
that's all. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, it says 295 on
Yeah,
that's, and then my application, I did put for 300,000.
Okay, all right, very good,
So
thanks.
we'll be appreciative, even if it's less 5,000, but it's going to make a significant impact, so thank you.
in part that was caused because Trevor informed me that I didn't have a full 50. I only had 45 left. And so that was after she had filled in her application. Council President?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Allen, again, just thank you for all the work that you do. I think what you do is considered a model for many communities. We've had those conversations right here in the county about what you're doing there and how we can, at times, replicate what you've done. When I think about the comments that you made, it just made me think about how money is like blood in the body. It was meant to circulate. You know, if we deposit with our banks, then our banks should be lending back to us in terms of home mortgage loans and business loans and all those things and let it flow. If it's not, if our money is going out and never coming back, that's bleeding. You know, when you bleed, you're paralyzed, you're numb, and then things die. And that's what's happened to many communities when that flow is not happening. So it's not begging, it's not anything when you state the truth that let it flow in our community. We're not asking for anything that should not be already having been freely given. And for it not to be, then there's a problem. So I also just commend Cheryl Stevens on the work she's done in this area as well, and look to continue to support those efforts.
Thank you, President.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, is there a motion on the floor?
I make a motion that we move this to the full council. Are 3 readings required?
Yes.
Yes, under 3 readings.
Second.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please signify now. Hearing no opposition, congratulations. This moves forward to the entire body. As I said earlier, you'll have 3 readings. You can come and visit us in person if you so desire, but we highly recommend you watch the live stream, and the staff will let you know what the following steps are for you as we bring this to closure. Thank you so much for the work you do on behalf of all of us. Please do not hesitate to give advice or support wherever it is in Cuyahoga County, because we need this kind of work to keep our people in Cuyahoga County in homes and in good condition, especially as they mature and sometimes their pensions don't give them enough money to do everything they need to do to their houses. Thank you so much for your work and your staff's work.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Council.
Madam Clerk,
Madam Chair, there are no other matters for consideration.
is there anything miscellaneous for this body today?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.